Pixel 9 Pro, it's here, it's pink, and I'm finally back home. So we're gonna take this out of the box, take a look at it. I'm gonna talk about some more stuff. It's not just gonna be an unboxing video, but it is a stupid, useless unboxing video too. So I apologize in advance for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at the pink Pixel 9 Pro. Pixel 9 Pro in all of its glory. And let's go ahead and open this up. Let's see if I can actually not destroy the box in the process this time. Maybe, maybe not. I gotta get the box out of this sleeve, which is the dumbest stinking thing ever. Like, I don't even applaud their commitment to using all this recycled crap, because they do something stupid like this. This is the second one of these that I'm unboxing, and I'm about ready to Hulk smash this sucker because of the way this is so terribly designed. Maybe. All right, whew, we got it. Thank goodness, piece of trash. All right, so Pixel 9 Pro. This is the phone that, like the second most exciting phone I've been second most excited about this year. Why? Because it is a full pro level Pixel phone, unadulterated, but it's handheld size. It's not a big gigantic behemoth like the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So screw a bunch of that stuff. So anyway, yeah, it's pink. I think it's called like rose quartz. And I do have my Pixel 9 Pro XL here because of course it came out first, because yes, they released them at staggered release dates. So I've really enjoyed the Pixel 9 Pro XL, had a great time with it, but I've been just waiting for this one to show up, not just because it's pink and it looks like strawberry Nesquik, but because I like smaller phones. And there's not a whole lot of compromise here. Yeah, it has a little bit smaller screen, 6.3-inch screen, totally cool, 4,700 watt battery. It has 27 watt charging instead of 37 watt charging, which, why? I don't even understand that. How does one have 37 watt, but the other one has 20? You have to go through some serious gymnastics to even make that happen. So I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. But anyway, here's what it is. And here's the size difference. So basically, the only ones that have pulled this off have been the iPhone. Apple with the iPhone, with the Pro and the Pro Max. And it's great they have a Pro size model, but historically, at least since the 13 Pro, because the 13 Pro had amazing battery life, the 14 and 15, not good battery life. So yeah, they were the only ones that did it. Samsung didn't do it, Motorola, Google, nobody else. And that's one thing that I really liked about Apple, is they actually gave you a pro level phone in two sizes. So now Google has copied that. And if you're going to copy something, I don't mind copying that. Of course, you got the crappy USB-C cable in here. It doesn't have the little USB-A accessory, which you can use to transfer files over, or use it for data transfer if you want to plug in a USB or anything like that. Hopefully you have one laying around. And then here's the rest of this stuff. You can tell I'm really enthusiastic about this part of the job. Yep, SIM ejector, useless pieces of paper. Yeah, I love how they want to make an eco-friendly box, but then they're committed to killing trees to put this garbage in here. Anyway, so I spent like 20 hours flying to get back home. I came back from Berlin. I was over there for IFA. I will talk more about that later. Also about my traumatizing German-Mexican food experience, which everybody's dying to hear about. But yeah, this was waiting here on my doorstep. It came out on the 4th. I've been gone all week. So I got here and I'm like, I could sleep, but I could also record this video for everybody who wants to watch it. So yeah, I think it's nice looking, 4 different color options. And I'm really excited because look at this, so much more handheldable than the larger one. Like, I don't have the biggest hands in the world. Like, I have to rotate the whole phone to the side of my palm just to touch the other side of the screen. And now I can actually reach over there without having to do it too much, but still, yeah, easier to use, one-handed, same as the Pro XL, but smaller. And I'm all about that. So yeah, let's get out of this view. So yeah, $9.99, everything the Pixel 9 Pro XL has, but in a smaller form factor, smaller screen, a little bit smaller battery, still has a crappy 128 gigabytes of storage because why? Look, I get that some companies or some phones still might have it, like maybe a lower spec one, maybe the Pixel 9. I could forgive the Pixel 9, but if you have the word Pro in your name, if you're able to do 8K boosted video through Video Boost, if you're able to shoot 4K 60, you need 256 gigabytes of storage. If you're shooting those photos at full res, yeah, full 50 megapixel resolution, those suckers take up like 5, 6, 8, 10 megabytes of file if you want. So yeah, I get what they want to do because they want people to pay the extra money for the higher storage model, but it's very impractical to have that little storage in a pro level phone. And you're already paying $1,000, right? I really feel like this phone should have been $899 though. Why? Because the Pixel 8 Pro was $999. So if it was $999 and it was the bigger phone, basically you're paying more money because you're paying $999 for the Pro, which it is, yeah, it's the Pro, but it's smaller, cheaper to make. So it should have been $899. The Pro XL should have been $999, especially 128 gigabytes of storage. This, of course, is $1099, and you can see them side by side here. All right, so I will make more videos about this. I'll have my full review coming later. It won't take nearly as long because why? Everything's the same. So I do need to check out like battery life and stuff like that because it is a smaller screen, smaller battery, but the cameras, I don't need to spend that much time on that. A lot of this stuff is identical. So that does make my job easier and I can get content out faster to you guys. But yeah, exciting stuff, especially because the iPhone is going to be here in a couple of days. And I'm sorry that you had to experience the whole unboxing thing this late in the game. It's like a week after it came out, but I had to take it out of the box. So I got to call it something, right? Whenever you put in a title for a YouTube video, it's like Tech Odyssey takes phone out of box. Just doesn't, nobody's going to click on that, right? I mean, maybe some people will, and I appreciate you for clicking on it, but it's really not an effective way to market a video. So to make up for it, I'll tell you the Mexican food story. So just word of caution out there, or an asterisk, I'm not so stupid I'm going to order Mexican food in Germany and expect that it's going to be any good at all. If you want to get some sauerkraut, if you want to get some beer, if you want to get some schnitzel, if you want to get some spätzle, I mean, there's all sorts of things that the Germans are really good at making. Not so much Mexican food. So what happened? I mean, I guess I could start off with, well, what had happened was, that always starts off for a bad story. Whether you know this or not, there's another guy, his name is Tech Tablets is what he goes by. His name's Chris. Anyway, we're like super good friends. So when we don't get to see each other very often because I live in Houston, he lives in Spain. So we usually only get to hang out at Mobile World Congress and we get to hang out at IFA. So we're walking around the convention halls, we're looking at stuff, grab the beer, kind of got done for the day. And I'm like, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner? He's like, oh, there's a Mexican food place not too far from here. I'm like, German Mexican food? Like, that sounds like a complete recipe for disaster. He's like, yeah, probably, but I'm kind of in the mood for some Mexican food. I'm like, I mean, if you really want to go, as your friend, I will go with you, but don't expect it to be good and expect me to tell you I told you so. Me coming from Houston, of course, I'm like an expert on Mexican food and Tex-Mex because we have both of those here. If you need a explanation on the difference, maybe I'll do that some other time. But anyway, so we walk over there. The Ubers were taking forever and it would take 10-15 minutes to get picked up. The rates were overcharged. He's like, oh, it's only like 1.5 miles from here. We'll just walk over there. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I've walked 8 miles today. What's another 1.5 miles? So we walk over there and we walk in and there were actually a few people there. I was surprised. I was like, well, maybe the German people don't know any better. Maybe in Berlin, this is good Mexican food. Got my hopes up just a shred because, I mean, there were people eating there, right? After having eaten there and realizing how bad it was, it really made me suspicious of the people who were eating there. But anyway, so it was called Cancun. So if you ever go to Berlin and you're anywhere near the Messe area or Charlottenburg, it's a place called Cancun. And I guess it's not even owned by German people. So that was interesting. Maybe it was an Indian family, I think. And they were the ones that I think we're owning and operating this place, which, I mean, that's fine. There's nothing that says an Indian person can't make good Mexican food, but in this case, they did not. So I ordered enchiladas. I got some picadillo enchiladas, which is basically seasoned ground beef inside of an enchilada. They put the sauce and the cheese and stuff on top of it. Well, I think it was more of like Indian and Chinese fusion cuisine out of a can, if that's even possible. So I ordered the enchiladas. He ordered some tacos. And when the tacos came out, his tacos looked like it was basically some curry meat that got thrown inside of a taco. No resemblance to a ground beef taco, no resemblance to a normal taco. Taco shell was like super soggy. And he was like, man, this doesn't look or smell right. And then he tried it. And he's like, yeah, this is not very good. Well, I had also ordered my food, and my food showed up, and the rice, the Mexican rice, was jasmine rice, like the basmati jasmine rice, and it was mixed with some sort of a seasoning I can't describe other than it was very not Mexican. And they put like a tiny little dab of some salsa, like some canned salsa on top of the rice. And I tried the salsa. I ordered some chips and salsa, and they were disgusting too. I just ate the chips because the salsa was so bad. So anyway, I ate like 2 or 3 bites. I tried one bite of the enchilada and I almost spit it out. I was like, this is not good. This is terrible. So I think I offended them because they come back by and I asked for the check and they could see noticeably I hadn't really eaten anything. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just full from earlier. I couldn't eat all this. It was too much food. But Chris continued to eat and he didn't get sick. I thought I would get sick. I have a very sensitive stomach when it comes to certain things. But I ate the one bite of it. I'm like, man, this is just not making me feel good. And I had a flashback because when he and I were at MWC 2 years ago, we went and we ate the lunch at the Mobile World Convention, Mobile World Congress. We ate the lunch there, the box lunch, and they had these fries with like this, like, I don't know what it was. It was some sort of sauce that came with it. I think it was like a ranch or a mayonnaise-based sauce. And he and I both got so sick. We're supposed to go to an after party that night with Honor. We missed that. And I felt like I was dying, and he was also sick. So I was like, these enchiladas are giving me that same, they're giving me the same feeling as when we had that food 2 years ago. He's like, yeah, I know, but I'm just so hungry. I got to eat. I'm like, hey, I've raised all the red flags I can possible. I told you it was a terrible idea to come here. It's in God's hands now. Like you do whatever you want. I'll support you. I'll go get you some Pepto-Bismol if things go south. But he was all right. He made it through. He survived. The food was terrible. And not that this needs to be said out loud, but you probably don't want to eat Mexican food in Berlin. Anyway, so that was the story. We survived, but it was horrible. And also it was like 50 euro. I got an enchilada plate, chips and salsa. He got a taco plate. 50 euro. That's a lot. Anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed that part of the story, maybe better than you enjoyed the unboxing. But hey, I have the pink Pixel 9 Pro now. I'm going to make some videos because that's what I do. And hopefully I'll enjoy them. And hopefully they're helpful. And I wanted to talk about one other thing briefly. I might make a video on this because one of the things with the Pixel 9 series phones with the Tensor 4, it's supposed to be able to do up to 45 tokens per second. And somebody asked me what tokens were. Well, in the large language model AI world that we're in now, whenever you do output, like you do something, like let's say you summarize this Word document for me, okay? Or summarize this resume, or summarize this, or write this, or anytime you do anything that involves output and it involves words, one token is effectively one word, but it can also be a character. So a word is typically a token, like a comma is a token, a blank space is a token. It's different than a character because just like the letter A by itself might not necessarily be a token unless maybe it's a word. If it's a word by itself, it can be a token and a character also. So some characters are tokens, but not all tokens are characters. If I said that right. I don't know. I was really bad with word math problems. But anyway, so in the world of large language models, whenever you're like, oh, hey, write me a 500-word essay based off of this prompt. Well, when you say you can do 45 tokens per second, that's actually pretty fast, because that means you're outputting up to 45 tokens. So if you've got a sentence that's 10 words, I mean, that in itself, like one line of the paper could be 10, 15 words. So that means you can create stuff pretty quickly. If you had a limitation of 5 to 7 tokens per second, 10 tokens per second, it would take longer to process and create that data that you're asking for. So in the world of AI and what you can do on the phone, that's really good. And that's different than tops. So I wanted to differentiate that, because the tokens per second is a measurement, but also tops is a measurement. It's basically, the T stands for trillion, a trillion operations per second, or tera. So that's more of a mathematical thing, though. So when you say you can do a trillion, if you can do a trillion tops that's 1 trillion operations per second. That's basic mathematical problems, or basic math work. So like 1 plus 1 is an operation, or like 2 plus 2, or whatever. And when you deal with math, there's a lot of math involved with computers. Ultimately, everything is ones and zeros. Most people probably know that. But there's a lot of mathematical equations that have to be done to create things, to display things, to solve problems. It's not letters. So when you take a look at tokens per second, that deals specifically with mostly large language models and generating output for when you ask for things, or summarize things, or write things, or create things. And then you have the tops, which is your how many operations per second. So those are two different metrics. I don't know what the top speed is when it comes to the Tensor 4. I know that the tokens per second is very, very good, and it's the best when it comes to smartphones. But anyway, I think I need to do a separate class on this, because there's a lot of different things you look at, right? You look at numerical data, you look at, but of course also large language model, AI stuff. You look at tops, tokens per second, batch file size. There's a lot of different things that go into it that give you a whole picture of how good something is with AI. So I might break that down further and talk about it. One, so I can explain, and I like to do that. I like to teach things. But two, I want to see how good the tensor actually is, because just being able to do tokens per second is good, but in the world of AI, it's not all about tokens, right? So anyway, this has kind of devolved a lot. Hopefully I made the video more worthwhile than just taking a phone out of a box. I know it's kind of all over the place, but hey, I tried, and I've been up for like 40 hours. It was like 2 hours of mixed sleep on the plane. So I'm gonna get off here. I need to go away now and go lay down, but I got some Dr. Pepper. I haven't got any Tex-Mex yet. Customs screwed me when I got off the plane here in Houston, and it took 2 hours for me to get through customs, which was insane. So my favorite Ponchos and also Casa Olay were both closed. So I just depressingly and sadly told my wife to take me home. But I did get Dr. Pepper. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, whatever's, you know where to find it. Type away. If you enjoyed the video, of course, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out, which is, as we know, pretty much every day. I make a lot of videos. So as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.